Well, hello! It's been a hot minute since I made a video. Never said that before in my life. I made a bunch of videos in the beginning of August. Only posted a couple, decided I didn't want to post the rest of them, and then got lazy. And then I got sick. It's been a while since my last video about learning Korean, and I saw a post on Tumblr where somebody was asking for advice, and the person was kind of giving them bad advice, in my opinion. Well, not bad advice, but just things that I didn't think were going to help them very much. And I actually noticed that in my journey to learn Korean, I have experienced a few times people making, I don't want to call them mistakes, but people doing things that I don't think are really helping them learn. Like I said, I don't want to call them mistakes, but for the sake of the title of the video, I didn't know what else to call them. This is not me telling people how to learn or acting like I know everything about learning Korean or whatever. I'm just trying to give my advice and tips and hopefully help if I can. So this is not me judging. If you do any of these things, you do you. Obviously they might possibly be working for you, so go ahead and do them. But it's just some things that I think might be hindering your progress or keeping you from learning as well or as smoothly as you could be. Not me saying these are completely wrong to do. If they work for you, then they work for you. Just maybe consider these things if you're having a hard time and you feel like you're not where you need to be. I myself am taking a small break from learning Korean right now, so that's also kind of what inspired this, because I was thinking back on what I had learned so far, and I think maybe I've done one-ish of these things. Let's get into the actual video. So the first thing is using only one resource. What I mean by this, pretty self-explanatory. Say you're using a free website to study from. I was doing it myself. Nothing wrong with it. It's not the mistake in this case. But that website, if you're only using that website, will teach you things from one perspective. So if you were to add, say, YouTube videos, if you were to watch Talk to Me in Korean, they would teach pretty much the same stuff. Everywhere kind of teaches the same stuff, but everywhere teaches it kind of differently. So that website that you're using, and Talk to Me in Korean, could teach you the exact same topics, but in different ways. So you're learning from a different perspective. It's really good sometimes to learn from the perspective of somebody who is not a native Korean speaker, but also from Korean speakers. Because from the non-native person, you're going to learn helpful little comparisons and stuff. They'll have English comparisons, whereas sometimes Korean people don't know necessarily what an English comparison would be, the right translation. But you're also going to learn from a Korean person who is native and who can give you those insights to speaking the language. Does that make any sense? I hope so. Next is using K-pop and K-dramas sort of exclusively. It's not necessarily bad to use them as maybe a reference or something, but using K-pop and K-dramas to learn Korean in general is not necessarily a good idea, because, how do I explain this? They use a certain type of Korean in K-dramas, and it's called romanticized. If you know what that means. I don't know how to really explain it, but the language is more for TV than actual conversation. You get me? And also, K-pop is not actual real sentences. You're not going to learn how to politely say something or how to formally say something. You're just learning a raw form of it. I'm having the hardest time trying to explain this, but basically neither of them are a really good, reliable source. So don't use them to study from by themselves. Next is rushing yourself to learn. For some reason, when people learn languages, at least Korean as far as I've seen, they have this weird mindset that they have to learn it as fast as possible so that they can use it right away and immediately. I get that you want to know the language and you want to be able to use it, and you want to watch those K-dramas without the subtitles. I feel you. I'm the same way. But rushing yourself is only going to hurt you in, not the long run, but currently, you know? Pushing yourself to learn as fast as you can, as in studying an entire book in one day instead of sectioning it through like a couple of weeks, you're gonna basically forget most of what you learned, and you're gonna have to go back over it again, which is not a good use of your time. Don't try to push yourself to go faster. Everybody learns at their own speed, at their own pace. Everybody learns differently. So if learning faster works for you, then keep doing it. But usually trying to do things too fast is going to hurt more than help. Next is comparing yourself to others. I am guilty of this. I have done this so many times. Say you have a friend that's learning Korean. Maybe they started the same time as you, maybe they started a little earlier than you, but they're doing a little better, or they're a little farther along, and you're like, why am I not better? Do not do that. I'm going to say this so many times. People are different. You might not learn as fast as your friend. You may not be as good at picking up languages. Everybody is different. I know I'm not super good at picking up languages, but I'm not horrible at it. Like, if I hear a phrase, it'll stick in my mind usually, and I'm like, I can use that for something. I know so many phrases in different languages, but that's all I know in that language. I have compared myself to a couple of my friends that are learning Korean as well, and they started a little while before me, and I'm just like, why am I not doing better? But it's because I'm different, and I learned later on than they did. So they've got, like, some of them 2 years ahead of me, some of them a year ahead of me. So I can't expect myself to be on that level from being as far behind as I am. You can't expect that of yourself. So don't compare yourself to others. Don't do it. Now the last ones kind of all relate to each other, and I don't know which order to put them in, so this might be a mess. But not taking it seriously and not having a schedule will impact how you learn. If you're kind of just casually learning and you maybe have a book that you just look at every like couple of months, or if you're watching K-dramas, you'll pick up a couple of words that you're hearing over and over again, but you're not ever really going to get anywhere from it. And the schedule thing, that really only applies if you have something consistent to learn from. Like myself right now, I don't have any like sources that I'm using to learn from. I'm just watching K-dramas because I'm on hiatus from learning Korean. So that's all I got right now. But I'm not taking that as like I'm studying from it. I still take learning Korean seriously, but right now I don't have like a book or a website that I'm using to actually study from. You need that kind of foundation to focus on. So even, like, I know everybody says this, even 30 minutes a day. However much time you have a day, do it. If you have 10 minutes, do it for 10 minutes. But do it every day rather than doing a bunch on, like, the weekend. If you're in school and you don't have time during the week, do it for, like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes during the weekday and on the weekend. Maybe a little more on the weekend if you can. Rather than, I'm going to do this for an hour today, and then maybe, like, next week I'll do it for another hour. Like, that's not going to help you. And the last one is studying too much. Kind of contradicts what I have already said, but there is a such thing as studying too much and burning yourself out. It can deter you and turn you off of wanting to study because you're looking at it after having done so much of it, and you're like, I'm not in the mood for this anymore. But also, if you try to cram too much into your brain, like with when I said when you're rushing yourself, you're trying to learn so much so fast. When you're studying too much, you're pushing so much information into your brain, it can't like process it all. But like I said, if that's how you learn, then by all means keep doing it. It's just not really helpful for most people to try to learn as much as possible at once. It's almost kind of the same thing as rushing yourself. But in the rushing yourself part, I meant that more as like, in general, you're trying to learn so fast. This one is more like at a time when you're studying. It kind of relates to what I said about having a book and reading all of the chapters in one day as opposed to spacing it out. Like, studying too much. I've done this. I'm studying like 5 chapters in a book a night versus studying a chapter a night. It's gonna make you feel like you don't really want to keep doing it. Or if you finish the book too fast, you're going to be like, well, I didn't really learn anything. Am I making any sense? Hopefully. But that is it for this video. I tried my best to explain these things the way that they came up in my mind, but I don't know how much sense I made. Hopefully you improve your studying habits by watching this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video.